The other day, we reacted to a video about somebody walking around at night, and I said how I don't like to walk around at night. It's one thing to make small commutes in a well-lit city with a bunch of people walking around like New York and stuff like that, but it's a completely different thing to just take a night walk by yourself. I know they can be peaceful and relaxing, and if you're in a nice neighborhood, it's probably a lot easier to swallow. But I don't like to walk in my neighborhood during the day, much less at night, or in the deep woods or country. It's just, especially by yourself, or just you and your wife or something like that. I don't know, man. I'm kind of, if I would see like a figure in the woods or something, I'd lose my mind. No tell, you know what I mean? So when Spooked puts out a video about night walks, I get really, really excited because it's probably going to be super scary. They always are from Spooked. Guys, make sure to subscribe to him and let's get into this reaction.
This happened to me last week, and it would be an understatement to say it wasn't the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
It was a regular, cool Sunday night, and as usual,
so good,
I was about to take my dog Edward out for a walk.
All right.
I'd usually go around the nearby trail in the forest. Recently, for about a couple of days, I've noticed these posters scattered around the trees in the surrounding area I lived in.
Missing?
It was these posters about a criminal wanted by the police for alleged child luring and molesting.
Oh, wow.
I remember when I first saw the poster, I was absolutely frightened by the forensic sketch of the man.
Oh my god, yeah.
But what was even more scary
like
was the fact that he was allegedly caught in this particular forest. Beyond the sketch, there was just a brief description of the man,
right,
saying that he was a bald, light-skinned African-American with brown eyes. Anyways, that night, like every Sunday night, I left my house at around 6.
Sure.
And where I live, the sun sets at around that time. So it was already pretty dark by the time I reached the trail. As I was walking, nothing out of the ordinary occurred. But as I reached the playground area, my dog Edward started acting a little weird.
Okay.
For some reason, he walked really slowly, and I had to pull on the leash to get him to walk faster.
He was apprehensive
but even
about
then,
going
he'd
forward.
even occasionally stop with his ears perked up, as if he was trying to listen for something.
He was sensing something.
Edward never did this before, so I was getting a little curious as
Dogs
to what was going on.
Dogs can pick up smells, man.
I decided to stop with him, so that I could listen in silence to what he was making out.
Sure.
I couldn't make out anything. Edward was beginning to make me a little paranoid,
Sure.
so I pulled on the leash and decided to walk faster.
A lot of pet owners are very
But then
receptive like that.
he started growling. Come on, Edward, we don't have all day, I told him. Yet he just kept growling, this time staring right into the forest on the side of the trail.
Yeah, you know what, let's go,
So
Edward.
I stood silent, and that's when I heard it. I could faintly make out the sound of what seemed to be someone stepping on a twig.
Yep.
I looked into the direction of the sound, and in that moment, my stomach literally sank. When I say this, I don't mean it lightly, but what I saw was the most traumatizing thing I ever saw in my life.
Was it the guy?
Roughly about 30 feet away was a light-skinned bald man.
Oh no.
Peeking out of one of the trees. I stood there for a moment.
Oh man.
My heart beating literally out of my chest. I was clearly visible under the lamppost, so I knew he could see me.
Oh my god.
I don't know how I managed not to scream in that moment.
Right.
But I figured the way of not making things worse would be to pretend I didn't see anything and act natural.
Yeah.
So I just called out Edgar's name and pulled on the leash, acting like my dog was just being annoying.
Right.
Luckily, Edgar started walking again, and from there I walked as fast as I could straight home.
Yeah.
I didn't want to risk looking back, as that would have made it even more suspicious on my part.
Yeah, because
I locked all my doors and jumped on the phone to call the police.
They wouldn't try to target you.
I told them I saw the man from those sketches in the forest past the playground area.
Right.
They came and did a search of the entire forest, and I didn't get any updates on it that night. The following day, though, the posters were still there, so I assumed they couldn't find him. I called the police for updates, but they said they couldn't find anyone that matched his description that night.
Right.
Call me crazy, but I'm 100% sure that the man I saw was the wanted child molester from those sketches. My theory is that night, he saw me notice him, and after I left, immediately booked it out of the forest.
Yeah.
Looking back, It's crazy to think that I had not kept my cool in that moment when I noticed him.
Right.
Something sinister would have probably happened to me.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they're scared about getting caught, they'll just try to flee, you know?
For some background, I was 19 at the time,
they'll
and
get violent
I'm a female.
if backed into a corner.
This happened back in 2017, when I lived in one of my rear units behind a strip of main ones on a quiet street.
Okay.
As a young, extremely dumb 19-year-old in a seemingly safe area of Australia, I didn't really think twice about leaving the house late at night.
Yeah.
I was late to finish class one night, getting off my bus and walking down the street towards my house at around 10 p.m. I was tired and unaware of my surroundings as I pulled into the block, passing what looked like the shadow of a person crouching on the sidewalk with their back towards me.
Oh.
I could hear this muffled noise coming from the person, so looking back, I could have checked on this person if everything was alright, but I became kind of nervous and scurried off towards my unit instead. Later on, as I got settled in and ready for bed, I heard a loud scuffling around the concrete outside. It was really muffled again.
Right.
I opened my window from the second floor. This time, I called out to ask if this person was alright, but I heard nothing though. I called my landlord and notified him that there's some man outside acting really strange. Nothing else really came of that until weeks later, when I left my house at night again to walk to the 24-hour servo. As I returned back towards my house, I saw someone again, this time standing near some bush on the street, alone, and not really doing much but staring.
Sure.
I was guessing it was the same person that was crouching in the corner the week before. I could feel myself slowly being examined. Getting a bit nervous, I decided to walk past, and for some reason, I waved, probably to make it less awkward.
Yeah.
But the man didn't respond in any way. He just kept
staring.
It was then that I took it up with the landlord again, finding out that a few other tenants had also complained about a stranger hanging around at night. I notified the police, but of course, nothing came of that. It was months later, and everything had sunken into the back of my mind.
Sure.
My then partner and I were in a tiff with each other, and he was leaving my place to go home.
So you decided
I was annoyed, but I didn't feel right letting him walk home by himself.
Right.
So I walked with him.
Okay.
On the way back, I noticed that dreaded silhouette again, but this time, standing in the middle of the road under the street lamp. I stood there in shock and mentally went through every single what, where, who, how, and why at that moment.
Right.
I neared closer to find out that indeed, this definitely had to be the same person as before, because he was just standing there, watching the houses on the street.
Right.
The man couldn't see me, so I decided to stay crouched behind the tree.
What do you want, dude? What are you doing?
I waited for what felt like an eternity while he was fixed there, standing in the middle of a dead road, peeping into the houses out the front.
Right.
It was like nothing in the world could break his bizarre fixation on the units. I remember trying to justify it in my head, trying to play it off, like it wasn't weird as it was, and soon decided that maybe I was just being paranoid about all of this.
Yeah, you're not really calling the police for anything.
I remember getting impatient and just wanting to go home.
Yeah.
So with that, I got up to pass him.
Why not, though?
Trying to make it as smooth as possible.
Just say it's a suspicious man.
I had actually been wrong about the entire situation.
That's looking at me. And
it was within seconds of passing him that I met eyes with him.
Oh wow!
Something forced me to bolt. Maybe the fact that I remember him grinning at me from within 2 arms distance of me.
Oh.
Maybe the fact that he shrieked when he saw me too. But it ran so fast.
He got scared of you too?
About how fast I ran. I was running through the lot, and as I did, I could hear gravel crunching behind me.
Oh, he was running
I got in
after you as well.
Slammed my door, and in a frenzy called the police, practically yelling at the top of my lungs in hopes that if he was following me, he'd hear me on the phone with the police.
Right.
I called my landlord again, my family, and basically everyone I knew. I was frantically calling that night, and I even got my neighbor to sleep over too.
Wow.
I learned later on in the week that security footage had picked up that the man had indeed charged after me all the way up to my door, jumped into the closest bush to my house, had waited for me for 10 minutes, and had even watched my landlord come inspect around from the inside of the bush.
What?
After 10 minutes, the man gets out of the bush, and casually walks away, taking the back exit through the path on the side. Despite being too paranoid to leave at all for a while, I didn't hear anything again.
The hell?
I still have no idea who this person was.
Right.
I have no idea why he would pop up in the complex at random times.
Exactly.
Just to stand around for hours.
He was looking for a victim.
No idea why he chased me.
Or maybe he was
and
just
no
crazy.
clue why he was never seen again after the fact. Even now, I am still uncomfortable with the idea of leaving at
Hiding
night.
in the
even
bushes
in a new
to watch.
area.
No, I don't blame you. Bruh. Crazy people, man. Hiding in the bushes while people were coming to see about him. And you know they heard. She was hollering on the phone to the police, you know? Bruh. Spooked, y'all. Such a great story. Make sure to subscribe to him as well as a couple other videos that I reacted to. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.